I also remember you being one of the first ones to tell a 9/11 joke. Dead serious. If memory serves me correct, it was at a roast or something, and you were the first one to tell a 9/11 joke, and people were like, whoa.
Yeah, it was at the Hugh Hefner roast. And it was like just a couple of days after September 11th. And it was scary. It was like all over the world was in shock. New York, forget it. Because there were black clouds floating in the air for months afterwards.
Right.
And so it was a real weird, and I wanted to be the first one to address the elephant in the room. And first I started off slow. I said, tonight I'll be using my Muslim name, Hasn't Been Laid.
And by the way, Saturday Night Live did that with Robert De Niro. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
That whole sketch they did with making fun of Arab names.
Yeah.
And now he's like, oh, we've got to stop this.
Yeah, we've got to stop this. But you went, and you went for it and sold the...
So I went on. I was doing some jokes. And then I said, I have to leave early tonight. I have to catch a flight to L.A. I couldn't get a direct flight. We have to make a stop at the Empire State Building. And it was like I lost an audience as much as anyone in the history of audiences has. And they were booing and hissing. And one guy yelled out too soon, which I thought meant I didn't take a long enough pause between the setup and punchline. And then, after what felt like I was standing there for 200 years, I felt like, why don't I just go to the bottom level of hell? And I went into the aristocrats, which is about incest and bestiality. And the audience was howling.
Yeah, I remember watching. It's how do the people in the audience at the time not understand the irony of what's just happened? They got offended by something that is clearly a joke, right? Obviously, but they got offended because of its recency.
Yeah. Where was it shot? Where did you shoot that roast? Was it in L.A. or New York?
It was in New York.
Yeah, it was in New York.
Well, you know.
But everybody remembers the first thing that happened after 9/11, the first any kind of stuff that anybody watched other than just the news for 2 or 3 weeks was late night television, Saturday Night Live,
yeah.
and then the New York Yankees.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
That was it. It was baseball. It was George Bush throwing out the first pitch,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
That whole bullshit.
Yeah.
So how do we've been doing this for a long time. Some of the most famous artists in history have been satirists. There are people who fucking realize that life sucks.
Yeah.
And we've got to make fun of it or we're going to kill ourselves, right? That's the reason comedy fucking exists in the first place. It's like comedy is basically like religion. We invented it to keep ourselves sane through this chaotic process of life.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's exactly why comedy exists. And now these people can listen to this shit, get offended by it because it was recent or it had something to do with them. And then you launch into one of the most... if not eloquent, fucking crazy tirades of all time, which is the aristocrats joke.
Yeah.
And then they start to cheer you, even though that's way more fucked up than the first thing you said. How do they not put 2 and 2 together there?
Yeah. What was your feeling when you walked off stage that night?
And it was an amazing feeling because it was like it proved terrorist attack, bad taste, incest and bestiality, good taste. But also it proved that those people who are getting so offended, they needed to laugh. It was like at that time period, they was so horrible, they needed something to laugh at.